Hello, hey there, what up? I'm back in this chair, and today we have a new review, an eyeshadow palette review at that, from the one and only NATASHA DENONA. We have a new palette. It's called I Need a Warm Palette. I believe this is the answer to all the cool and neutral palettes that have been very popular lately. But some of us, me, and I'm sure many of you, are still really loving the warmer tones. Some of us tend to lean a little bit warm in the skin tone, so warmer tones tend to look a little bit more natural on us. And so if you have been looking for this kind of palette, this is the review for you. Obviously, I don't yet have a look on my eyes, but I will at the end of this video, so keep on watching. In this video, you can expect a full, thorough review, of course a look, and I'm gonna tell you all the deets about this palette. So let's go ahead and get started. Subscribe if you aren't already, notification bell for those videos, and now let's hit it. I Need a Warm Palette from NATASHA DENONA. Here we come. All right, so let's open her up. She is a beauty, but I will say she is nothing that I have not seen before. Seen being the key word here. At first glance, this looks like a matte and shimmery, neutral, warm nude palette. But if you look at it closely, you see that there are some very shifty shades here, specifically this shade right here, which the camera is not actually picking up. Maybe if I go like this, shifts kind of pink to green. This is a $69 palette available at Ulta and at Sephora, in store, online, also at Beautylish, Cult Beauty, so on and so forth. Now we do have two new formulations in this palette. One is the Slip Cream Matte, which is a cream powder formula that acts like a powder but glides on like a cream that's supposed to be very long lasting. And there is only one shade in this new Slip Cream Matte. The shade is Flash Over, this last brown shade right here. And then another new formula featured in this palette is the Metal Gloss, which is a high foiled full coverage formula with reflective dimension and mesmerizing liquid-like finish. And that would be shades Snug and shades Homey. So these two right here. So of course, it wouldn't be a Maryam review without swatches, so I am gonna conduct some swatches and I'm gonna pop them up like I always do. You know what? I am thinking I'm just gonna proceed into this review, into this look, and then I'm gonna conduct the swatches at the end of the video because I don't wanna have a reaction to the swatches before I actually do the look, if that makes sense. I just wanna do it backwards today, but of course I'm gonna pop up the swatches right now for you to enjoy, so enjoy. So first and foremost, I do want to prime my lids. Obviously, you could see my foundation is already on. Kind of trying a different technique with my foundation today. I don't know if I like it just yet. If I do like it, I will surely do a video on it. But if you're wondering what foundation I'm wearing, it is the Dior Face and Body, which is one of my favorites because it looks very natural on the skin, but it does provide ample coverage. The weather is changing, and whenever that happens, my skin changes. And so I always like to go to a trusty foundation like the Dior Face and Body. And the reason why I need to go for something trusty today is because I have an event right after this. So whatever makeup I do today with this new palette, it's gonna go with me to my event. So I'm going to be actually very, very thoughtful about how I apply my eyeshadows. My goal is to create a look that works, not something super experimental like I usually do in these trial videos. This I actually want to look good. This I want to represent me. This I want to, you know, get my message across. So looking at these very neutral warm tones, and I say neutral because these aren't like super bronzy warm tones. They are warm, but they're not like tan warm. They're still kind of leaning neutral, at least from the way that I see it. It doesn't actually remind me of those orangey sunset cut creases and stuff like that that we used to see. This I will say is more of a wearable nudie palette. In fact, it kind of reminds me of NATASHA DENONA's I Need a Nude palette, which is one of my favorites. In fact, I think it's somewhere here, or maybe not. All right, so I guess I'll just take you through my process. Whenever I have somewhere to go and I need to do a look, I usually just go to Pinterest. I just look at some makeup inspo and see if anything catches my eye. This is very eye-catching, quite like that, but it is a bit on the matte side, and I do want to utilize some of these shimmers. It's quite nice as well. A little bit more glam than what I want to go for. A little bit more makeup-y, but cool. All right, what else we got? This is nice and vampy. I feel like I can do something like that as well. This is very nice and neutral. I like this. In fact, I like this a lot. This is what I'm gonna go for. This is my inspo. This is what we're doing. Okay. I also like the fact that her eyebrows aren't super defined. So I kind of want to go for something similar. So what I'm gonna do at first, I'm gonna grab this Sigma E25 blending brush, this shade here called Mellow. I'm gonna add this directly to my eye socket. And this shade Mellow looks like it's a pale peach shade on me. And you know, my skin tone is quite medium. It's tanner in the summertime. Summertime is officially over. We are in the fall weather months. I might still have a little bit of a summer glow. I just came back from 2 international trips. I am very much jet lagged. 3 time zones in a span of 2 weeks. Definitely has me in a chokehold. But you know what? It was all worth it. If you follow me on the gram, if you follow me on TikTok, then you already know where I went. My first trip was to Uzbekistan. That's right, Central Asia. And although I'm not Uzbek, I am part Central Asian. And this place definitely felt like home to me. I've never experienced such hospitality, such generosity, and just such a level of welcome as I have in Uzbekistan. It was by far one of my favorite trips I've ever taken. And the fact that I got to meet with my aunt and with my cousin who were celebrating their birthdays there. They used to live in Uzbekistan, which is why we chose to go there in the first place. It was just phenomenal. The history, the culture, people, the atmosphere, everything was just out of this world. Incredible, fascinating, moving, shaking, very inspiring. All right, so I am done with my first base layer and I like the way that looks already. Okay, I'm gonna take whatever's remaining on the brush and just run that along my lower lash line just to connect. And next, I'm gonna take a slightly darker shade, perhaps this one right here called Ripe, same brush, and I'm gonna apply that a little bit lower, shading the outer corner and kind of bringing it inwards towards the center lid. Okay, again, running that along the lower lash line, but sticking more to the outer portion, kind of like a soft smoky. And then I think I'm ready to test out that new formula, shade Flash Over. Not sure if I need a brush or my finger for this, but you know what? I'm thinking a tiny brush like this, Mario E5, will do the trick. So this is supposed to act like a cream but set like a powder. So let's see. Okay, I do see the difference. This definitely applies a little bit tighter, more opaque, a little bit more creamy, and I like it. So just adding that to the outer portion of the movable lid and then blending out the edge with the previous brush, kind of just lifting it towards the tail end of the brow. It's been a minute since I've talk through a tutorial. That looks really nice. That looks really, really nice. Really easygoing. Cool. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side and tell you about my second trip, which was to London with one of my favorite brands, Pixi, for their 25-year anniversary. I can't believe they've been in the business for 25 years. I distinctively remember walking into Target with my mom and seeing Pixi on display, and I remember thinking, wow, their packaging is very green, still green, and that was 25 years ago? Unbelievable. But one thing I will say about the Pixi fam, and I say fam because it is a family-owned brand. Everyone in the family is involved. Everyone works for the brand and does something for it, which is amazing and is also a lot of fun. And when I tell you they work really hard and party as hard as they work, not exaggerating. Ain't no party like a Pixi party. So let's just say London was a really good time. All right, blending out that outer edge. Cute. We're matching. I really do like the formulation of this eyeshadow. It is very, very easy to work with. Absolutely no fallout. I almost don't believe it because usually with a deeper brown shade like this, you get something here, but really there's nothing. And I almost instinctively picked up this brush to like whisk off anything, but really there's nothing. I really like that. I kind of want there to be more shades like this. I kind of want a black in this exact formulation, just because a black is always necessary for eyeshadow looks, and it's so hard to get one without fallout. But this cream powder seems to be the answer. Also, you guys, it's been a minute since I've sat in this chair. I've missed it. I've missed doing reviews. I've missed doing my makeup, you know, in front of the camera. I've missed just like talking. This feels good. Also miss going to events here in New York. I miss getting ready for them, you know. I'm kind of having a good time here. All right, let's take a look at our inspo. Okay, we are getting there. So it looks like the outer part of the lid is darkened. Inner part of the lid is very, very bright. Classic type of situation. I'm gonna take a little bit of that shade Flash Over and connect that to my outer corner. Yeah, like that. Same thing here. Boom. All right, so now for the inner part. I'm gonna go for 2 shimmery shades. Definitely wanna use Snug or Homey. I think I'm gonna go for Homey first. All right, picking it up with my finger. I'm not sure how this differs from any of the other shimmery shades, but it is supposed to feel like a metal gloss, so let's go for it. Whoa, I see it now. Okay, I'm going to liberally add this all over the inner half of my lid. I see. Rather than being a wet sparkle finish, this is a little bit more continuous. So you see a continuous shimmer as opposed to a sparse, sporadic sparkle. I quite like this. It does definitely feel like a liquid foil, like they said. It's a really good description. The only problem with this type of shadow is that it doesn't transition very well into a matte. So you need to kind of add a little something so that there isn't that harsh edge. I'm gonna pick up this shade Dynamism, which looks like a shimmery copper. And I'm gonna shade in between those two shades. I'm just gonna use that as a transition, like that. That is very nice. Next, I'm gonna take the lightest shade in the palette, which looks like this shade right here called Elm. I'm gonna take a small brush. I'm gonna add that to my entire inner corner and lower half of the lash line. Okay, so Elm isn't very sparkly. It's just a traditional shimmery shade, which is nice to have in a palette, but I kind of want a little bit more sparkle. So I'm gonna go for one more shade, and that is shade Fancy. This one's a little bit softer than Elm, but it does offer just a pinch more sparkle. I'm gonna layer that right over, and I think that kind of did it. So I like that the outer portion of the eye is darkened, kind of lifted. I'm basically just tracing my own natural eye shape. I'm not really elongating it or pulling it or lifting it too much. What I am doing is brightening the inner half, darkening the outer half to create that sort of wide awake illusion, because I can definitely use a wide awake illusion right about now. 3 different time zones in 2 weeks. All right, so with the shimmery shades, there's definitely a lot more fallout, but nothing that can't be taken care of with a fluffy brush like this. Boom. All right, I'm almost satisfied with the look, but I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna grab a big fluffy brush like this. I'm gonna dip into a new shade, this one called Fervor. I'm gonna do one more thing, and that is creating this little underbrow / nose contour around the shimmery part. This is not something that I typically do because I don't really have a lot of space between my brow and my nose. I have a lot more space here, but I think this little move makes it look a little bit more modern, a little bit more current, and it kind of allows that white to pop even further. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, just like that. I quite like that. So now I'm gonna go back into this shade here, which on me looks a little bit brighter than my skin, but not by much. It is still kind of close to my skin tone. So if you're looking for a matte eyeshadow for the brow bone, you won't find that here, especially if you are someone with a much lighter skin tone than mine. And I guess if I were to criticize this palette, I would say that's like one thing that's missing here. I would like some sort of a bone colored eyeshadow. Like, although this works for me very well, I also do have a little bit of a summer tan still happening, so it wouldn't necessarily work in the winter time. Next thing I'm gonna do is add my mascara. I think I'm gonna skip liner. I like the way this looks. I'm gonna use this black brown Extend Lash tubing mascara from Emco, just to give a little bit more definition, but I don't wanna go black. I think with this warmer colored palette, that to me still leans neutral, I think I wanna stick to the warmer tones and even a warmer tone mascara, like a black brown. I'm also gonna add a little bit of mascara to the lower lashes. I hardly ever do this, but because I'm skipping liner, I do want my eyes to be a little bit more pronounced. All right, that looks really, really good. And now for the lips. Definitely want to stick to the peachy pink vibe of the lips. I'm gonna go for this silk lipstick from Yensa Beauty in the shade Inspire. Has like a cool nudie vibe to it. And then on top, I'm gonna add the Fenty Glow Gloss Bomb Sticks. Actually, this is a little bit too cool for what I was going for. I'm gonna go for shade Ignite instead. That's it, that's it. A little bit more of a tanny, peachy nude, and then the Fenty Glow on top. I've been loving these Fenty Glow lipsticks. They just add that perfect touch to every look. All right, so here is the final look. Let me show you guys a close-up of the eyes, just so you can fully appreciate the sparkle. What do we think? I'll tell you what I think. Although this palette is not really anything I haven't seen before, I do think it's a very necessary and a very current palette to have in your arsenal, especially if you're someone who likes to wear makeup on the daily, or if you are a working makeup artist. This is something that any one of us can reach for. Although it's a warm palette, it is still neutral enough that any skin tone can pull this off. There's enough variety in here between the metallic shades or the shimmery shades and the the matte shades to create all sorts of everyday or dramatic looks. If you want to go for glam, you can definitely go for glam. I like these new formulas. I do wish there was a couple more colors in the new formulations, especially the cream powder shadow, this one right here. I definitely like the way that it felt. I like the way that it performed, and I would have loved to have a black shade, but that's just me nitpicking. Overall, I think this is a really, really nice palette. Super easy to work with. To me, it's a no-brainer. It's another hit from NATASHA DENONA. I need a warm palette. It is a palette that I'm gonna reach for on the daily, and I like it. And this is the look. So what I'm gonna do right now is release the bangs. Hopefully, hopefully I can make it work on camera. All right, and here is my final look. Let me know what you think. Would you wear this look, and where would you wear it to? My final 2 cents are this. Whenever I go to an event, I typically always reach for reliable makeup or reliable makeup brands that I know I can trust. Or even if I'm testing new makeup from the brand, I almost have this internal feeling that it's gonna be just fine because I am so confident that this will work. And this is exactly the feeling that I get with this palette because it is from NATASHA DENONA, and the palettes from this brand and from Natasha the woman are just this trusty and this reliable. So I'm just gonna leave it at this. That should tell you pretty much all the feelings that I have about this palette, and I'm gonna wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zooming on out, inviting you to check out more videos. Peace out. I'm out. Deuces!